Good morning, everyone, and thank you for coming today. I really appreciate it. This morning we have Dr. Deborah Heath Thornton, who will be presenting aspirations for academic programs at Cecil College. You all have her VITA summary as well as an evaluation, which I'll either collect at the end or you can in-office them to me. And of course, after her presentation, you'll have an opportunity to ask questions. So once again, Dr. Deborah Heath Thornton, and she'll tell you all about herself.
Thank you. Well, first let me say good morning. I'm happy to be here with you at Cecil College to be able to share a few of my thoughts today. I was asked to tell you a little about myself. I guess the most important thing is I'm a grown-up community college student. I probably should say I'm an old community college student, but some days I'm really not grown up because I still like to have fun, and I think the academic arena is a place that we can have a lot of fun, we can do a lot of learning as well as a lot of teaching in. So I've enjoyed an academic career for quite some time now. But I started many years ago, as you'll see in the information, at a community college, and this setting's always been dear to me because it really did change my life. And it sounds trite and cliche and all the rest of that, but I only went to a community college because it was in my town and I didn't know what else I was going to do. A few of my friends were going, wasn't far from the high school. I went and took some classes. And then that first semester I got hooked on the difference between high school and college that I didn't know and no one had explained to me. And I had a good academic advisor who said to me on more than one occasion, aren't you going to transfer? You can do this. So often when I'm dealing with community college students or associate's degree students, because in my most recent positions I haven't been at community colleges, but I've dealt with the very same clientele in associate's degree programs, and I've often been that voice that is still saying, aren't you going to transfer? You can do this. Look at this GPA. You've done well. Let's talk about what options are there for you. So I'm going to spend some time today talking about my aspirations here. I really would be remiss if I didn't start out by thanking you for this invitation today. I really do appreciate how many of you are here. I mean, it really does. I know this is a busy time. You're doing registration and the rest of that. And this really does speak to your commitment to the college's direction and the strategic priorities that I, too, have learned to care for. So thank you for your presence. I've been asked to speak to my vision for academics based on the current strategic plan. As I grow to know Cecil College, I realize that, as with any new venture, I have to step carefully. Colleges have personalities, if you will. I often refer to them as microcosms of the larger community, since they have a history and a history of the history, a currency, and a future. But most importantly, there are some unwritten norms, values, and other elements that make an institution what it is. And it helps to shape its many facets. And I would likely not know some of those things completely. So therefore, you should already know that I'm tipping my hand in terms of partnership with you. Because regardless to whatever my vision is, regardless to how lofty it is, it will take each of us and all of us to bring it to fruition. So with that, I'll talk to you about what I've termed my aspirations for academics here, using the current strategic plan as a launchpad. So my foremost desire is to be the premier bridge between potential and opportunity for students in and around Cecil County, to the point that those from surrounding areas strive to be here with us. This means more than just access. This means primarily student success. In other words, my aspiration is to provide the kinds of supports that facilitate degree completion in a timely manner. That should bring to mind driving academic achievement, which is our leading strategic priority. Researchers identify a number of ways to drive academic achievement. For example, first-year experience. First-year experience programs create a small community inside the larger campus community for first-year students, helping them to build relationships with other students, as well as with faculty and with staff. Students who participate in first-year programs demonstrate more positive relationships with faculty, greater knowledge and use of campus resources, more involvement in campus activities, and other time management skills than their non-participating counterparts. That comes to us from Broaden and Swanner, who did a 2010 study when the Community College Research Center in August of 2014 published an article that mirrored those very same results. They also identified first-year experiences as among the most promising practices for driving academic achievement. This means that first-year experiences socialize students to the learning environment that we're trying to provide for them. I contend that while these programs are generally aimed at traditionally aged students, adult students can benefit from parallel programming that's designed specifically for them. Another example, prior learning assessments, something that I've grown passionate about in recent years. This is the evaluation and assessment of an individual's life learning in an effort to assign college credit where appropriate, keeping in mind that the credit awarded is for learning that took place, not simply for the experience itself. The Council for Adult and Experiential Learning, CAEL, advocates awarding credit for prior learning. They point out the fact that prior learning assessment helps to retain and graduate adult students. CAEL also provides webinars, workshops, certifications, and other innovative kinds of initiatives to prepare campuses who want to fully engage in prior learning assessment. This can make a huge difference in the completion, in student completion in light of who today's students are. So obviously we have a lot of traditional age students, but we've got adult students, we've got part-timers, people that commute, we have international students, limited mobility students. I mean, this list really goes on and on and on. And what's interesting to me is when we talk about first-generation college students, we can go all the way back to the top and start to talk about first-generation traditional, first-generation adult. So you can see the multiple layers of the work that we have to do to support student success. The Community College Research Center highlights numerous other approaches to drive academic achievement. Goal setting, accelerated developmental ed, monitoring to keep students on track, on-time registration, class attendance and early alert and intervention, tutoring, supplemental instruction, and on and on. And what drives me about these kinds of initiatives is I know that they work, and I've engaged many of them in my practices, but they only work well when they're underpinned by the relationship with the students we're talking about. If something is happening in their lives that's causing them to miss class, if you have a relationship with them, they're willing to share that, regardless of its private nature. But if you don't, then people get defensive when you're, where were you, kind of thing. So relationship is going to underpin all of this all of these initiatives that we engage with students. The Premier Bridge requires that our programming be strong, yet nimble enough to embrace present and future student, employer, and societal needs. So once we have students with us, the goal is to position them for success. And I foresee us doing this by fortifying our faculty and staff to fully understand who our students are and the ever-changing landscapes from which they come. This involves understanding the challenges of both our traditional and non-traditional students. We'll position students for success by broadening our reach through online programming in particular. This may require some new strategies for effective assessment and improvement, but the future of online education, we can't see the end of. Yet, we need to be involved in online education in order to have the broadest reach we can with students, and therefore put that Cecil thumbprint in their forehead. We can also do it by finding unique ways to engage not only our distant students, but those who are with us who may have transportation or childcare challenges, but whose desire it is to fully participate in certain on-campus activities and events. These activities can range from orientation to enrichment experiences to extracurricular activities to anything else. So I contend that distant students should feel just as connected to us and to our campus as those students who sit in the seats with us every day. So the distance ed piece is something that we're really going to have to pay a lot of attention to. Now, having taught in an online environment, I have a concept that I call omnipresence. That means I like for my students to at least believe I'm always there, although obviously I'm not. But I do that by creating an environment that constantly drives them to their computers. And so therefore I'm monitoring attendance. I can see who's logging on and what they're doing when they log on. I try to provide some sort of, supportive, motivational communication. And to the point that students will say, what did she put there today? Well, I wonder what she's up to this time. And it almost becomes like a joke with them, but they're learning. Sometimes it's a silly cartoon or something. Announcements. I always try to make sure that once they log on and they see that cartoon, they see something that's going to benefit them, if it's nothing more than a reminder of an assignment that's coming due or testing that'll take place. And I like the whole virtual open door office hours where I just log on. And if I'm at home or in my office and I log on and a student is working, they can look, they see that I'm there, I can see that they've appeared, and I can address their issue. They don't have to wait for me for 4 o'clock or 2 o'clock or whatever the time is. So it does appear that I'm always online, but I'm really not, because I have other things I'd like to do as well. But when you're on a lot, it gives the appearance that you're there all the time. So I call that omnipresence. So the trick to that, though, one reason that I like to do this is when it draws them to their computers, especially because I like to start 2 weeks before a class starts, what it does is it makes them practice using that software. And so when they practice using that software, now when it's class time, they know how to use it. And they have fewer technological issues during the class proper, or those issues have arisen early and they're able to get the support they need so it doesn't negatively impact their grades. For distant students, the challenges presented by technology often manifest themselves in attrition. See, when they don't get a chance to practice it well, and then they get frustrated in the middle of something, sometimes they will drop out. When students are frustrated about technology, they're at greatest risk of dropping out. Noting that adult students are most likely to hold multiple social roles like parent and caregiver, employee, etc. And that adds to the level of their anxieties. And so the one thing that they can control when they can't not work, they can't find other care for their loved one, they can't put their children on layaway until they finish this project. They cannot do the project. So to remove those kinds of frustrations for them helps to keep them in school. So it may become necessary to find mechanisms for technology support when students are likely to be online, which might be at some odd kinds of hours. These types of endeavors will underpin our commitment to foster a dynamic learning environment. Community partnerships are going to be an integral part of the premier bridge between potential and opportunity that I foresee for our students, that we've already spoken about. In order to build enough trust and familiarity for those partnerships to flourish, we'll have to be present. That means that we'll have to engage in community service, whether that's in volunteer capacities, serving on local boards, regional boards, and those kinds of things. And reaching into sectors of the population who aspire toward academic attainment, but who are ill-equipped to get a start. They can't gain enough traction. When we reach out to them, we're able to help them. They obviously desire to reach us, so we have to extend our hand to reach them. They have a belief that, and a perception that an academic degree is valuable. We have to enhance that view. We can do that by raising our visibility in communities, sharing our story more broadly, inviting baccalaureate awarding allies to our campuses, suggesting ways that they can benefit from our engaging with them at their sites, and finding ways to encourage area leaders and political appointees to share their expertise with our faculty, staff, and students in various settings on our campus. These kinds of outreach initiatives will aid our charge to expand and deepen our community alliances in an area which is an area that's been understudied for quite some time. As a matter of fact, in 2012, a group known as Corporate Voices for Working Families, funded by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, went as far as to publish a blueprint for colleges in establishing alliances with community partners. These alliances have the potential to defray the costs associated with some of our student success initiatives. As you know, any article or conversation about issues facing higher education in general, community colleges in particular, contains an element of cost. Even with that, we remain dedicated to student success, which requires resources. Therefore, an aspiration that we must not lose sight of is stimulating resource development to prompt student success. We have to promote the message of the lifelong value of degree attainment in terms of not only earning potential, but with the knowledge that students who successfully complete their academic pursuits are likely to experience economic and personal advantages that result in social, political, and economic benefits for society as a whole. In other words, when they win, we all win. This is going to take a campus-wide commitment to things like the College Foundation, other scholarships, and other innovative ways to simultaneously contain the cost and expand the initiatives for student success. But we're not alone in this realization. On March 28, 2016, Bill Gates talked of his visit to 2 historically black colleges who tout success in student achievement. In an article entitled "Meeting Students Where They Are," Mr. Gates announced that our foundation is looking for ways for academic institutions that have learned how to give these students the support they need to graduate. They're not just opening the door to college for a new generation of students, but they are also helping to redefine the future of higher education in the United States. So my contention is that as we are changing and shaping higher education in the United States, no student should land on our campus lost. And the same holds true for our online students. Last month, the U.S. Department of Education published Fulfilling the Promise, Serving the Need, a 20-page document intended to support colleges as they serve as gateways to social mobility for low-income students, thereby creating relationships between students and their institutions that will serve both well into the future. Education is about relationships. Education is about relationships at many levels. It requires that we work together as educators, as institutions, as communities, for the current and future benefit of all. And colleges like Cecil, for example, it's paramount that academics and student services establish strong relationships to achieve our goals. So, I'm going to stop right there. I was asked to present my vision for academics at Cecil College. I believe the vision for Cecil College has been cast in a way that is refreshingly backed and supported by research. We have a dynamic, well thought out and developed plan here. My aspiration is to join forces with you to put action to this vibrant strategy in ways that benefit our students and the segments of society that they will touch in the decades ahead. Thank you.